previously on Hero of Hogwarts.
I overheard them talking in the Hogshead, and did you know that they have orders from Victor Rookwood to capture you on sight? What in Merlin's name are those dragons? This is Hauntel Hall. They must have only just captured her. She's putting up quite the fight. Look, they've got a dragon egg.
Avoid anything to do with that spellbook.
I am an animagus.
If we just return her egg, we can hopefully make it out without too much fuss.
I understand you have a shop to sell.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Aha!
Cassandra Mason sold me her shop and then tried to drive me mad in a haunted dungeon. Stop her! The hero of Hogwarts.
Nice thestral you got.
Thanks, Sebastian. Sebastian, that relic you mentioned.
I believe one of Slytherin's students stumbled upon the relic during an assignment to study sarcophagi in this catacomb. From what I read in a report by the student, they weren't permitted to take it with them, so I must assume it's still here. As I mentioned earlier, this relic grants its holder the power to reverse dark magic curses. If it's in this catacomb, I have to find it. For Anne. I need to see her.
I'd be interested to know what else the student discovered.
Have a look. Unfortunately, there's no name on it, but I suspect if it was important enough for Slytherin to stash in his spellbook, it's worthy of further study.
I'm ready to explore the catacomb. Perhaps we can visit Anne when we've finished.
Perfect. By the way, Ominous has been asking about you. You didn't tell him what we were doing, did you?
I didn't, I promise.
Good. Ominous would be livid if he knew what we were about to do. I'm sure that foul smell is the scent of success. Try not to lose your nerve just yet.
At least now we know we're not alone in here.
Perhaps that was it. The rest of the tomb will be insect-free.
Spiders aren't insects.
Don't start.
Opening all of these is tempting.
We're here for a reason. I'd say opening them all is justified. Now this is the sort of great room I want to be buried in.
Surrounded by grandeur.
Grandeur and then some. Even an altar with a pile of bones. Lovely.
Bones outside a sarcophagus. Seems odd. Looks like part of a student's diary. It mentions plans to return for the relic and conjuring barricades using bones.
Of course. The student's summary referenced a space beyond the Great Room, which means this can't be a dead end. Let's divide and conquer. You work on sorting out the bone barricades, I'll look around and see what we missed. Hold on to that diary entry. There may be more to it.
It does mention something else. It says their next assignment was learning the Imperious Curse.
Really? Interesting. We need to focus on moving beyond this room. But let me think for a moment.
Do you think the pages were left here on purpose?
Slytherin mentioned a student who excelled in charms and always carried a satchel stuffed full of notes. They might have been left on purpose, or the student may have simply dropped them.
Of course. I'll start to search for those barricades.
Brilliant. Look, bones stacked oddly on either side of this archway.
Leave no stone unturned. Or, in this case, no bone. Confringo!
If this archway's been barricaded, we can find a way through.
Wingardium Leviosa!
That's lots
Wingardium
of bone, I
Leviosa!
think.
Wingardium Leviosa!
You've done it! I knew we'd get through. I felt it in my bones.
Nice.
Before we trudge on further, I've just realized something. The student's diary mentions the Imperius Curse. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to need it here. It's an unforgivable, but useful when you're outnumbered. Places the victim completely under the caster's control. So, if you'd like to learn Imperio, I can teach you.
Where did you learn the Imperius Curse?
I taught myself. Don't tell Ominous that I've told you. It's not exactly something I can brag about, but it may come in handy. I think you ought to know it.
Shouldn't I know more about what the curse entails?
Remember the blasting curse? Same idea, except when it comes to unforgivable curses, your intention has to be clear. You have to mean it.
I don't think learning the Imperius Curse is a good idea.
Really? But we've no idea what may lie ahead. But I shan't press you. I'll have your back no matter what we face in there.
Closer!
Another barricade. Considering how well you did on the last one, this should be a cinch.
Wingardium Leviosa!
This looks different than what we faced before. Now we're also dealing with rune symbols.
Revelio.
Thank you, Arabella, for doing these puzzles. That worked. Keep going.
Wingardium Leviosa! I'm a mastermind indeed. Revelio. Wingardium Leviosa!
You are head and shoulders above these bones. Nicely done. I see why Slytherin's student was so entranced with this place.
Potato! Stupefy! No spider can stop me! Incendio! Fringo! For a moment there, I thought that'd never end.
Dead end. Lovely. All that for nothing.
Hold on. Don't give up yet. Sebastian, the relic! Look! The note and rendition of the relic. It matches. This must be where the student left the relic.
I can't believe it. After all this, it lines up. We've really found it.
What do you suppose is meant by the dark sacrifice required to realize the relic's potential?
I have no idea. But we're here for the relic.
The note advises to leave the relic alone.
I assure you, we were meant to find this. For Anne's sake. I'm taking it. Let's get to Feldcroft. Is that ominous? Ominous. The sounds we kept hearing. It was you.
You gave me no choice. I had to follow you. Sebastian, please, leave the relic alone. We can find another way to help Anne.
I'm sorry, Ominous, but I'm taking it.
No, you're not. If you won't put it back, then I will.
Hold on, both of you. Sebastian, please, take a step back.
Fine. But Ominous knows. I won't step back from a fight.
Can't believe this.
How much did you hear?
Everything. I was glad to hear you tell Sebastian to leave the relic. We need to stand together. Convince Sebastian this is wrong.
And if nothing will change his mind?
Something has to. I need your help.
You're right. This seems far riskier than Sebastian realizes.
Good. we're agreed. We don't allow him to leave here with the relic.
I do think we should talk to him, but I fear we won't stop him from taking the relic.
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting we negotiate. We allow Sebastian to leave with the relic under one condition. After this, no more.
I feel that's what we agreed to in the scriptorium. I'm being taken for a fool.
You're not, Ominous. This may be the only way to keep your friendship intact. Let's trust him to know what's best.
Fine. If I trust him on this, I'm trusting you too. The dark arts seem harmless until it's too late. Go then. Leave with the relic. I'll not say a word more.
Sebastian, we're ready.
What is it? I haven't changed my mind.
Ominous has. Let's go.
What? Ominous?
I'll explain on the way, come on.
Well, what happened back there?
Ominous and I found a compromise.
Ominous simply needs a moment with you and he'll change his mind. Is that it?
I told him we ought to give you this chance, that the relic is too important to ignore.
There has to be more to it than that. Tell me.
We agreed on what was needed, Sebastian. You have my word.
I never wanted to keep all this from Ominous. He just doesn't understand. And I didn't want to worry him all over again. As we were leaving, Ominous wouldn't even acknowledge me. That's not like him.
He was troubled, Sebastian. Even though we agreed to it all, it's been a lot to take in.
I thought he understood. He knew we couldn't give up. All of this is too important. For Anne. Oh no, this isn't good.
What is it?
Smoke, over there, by the hamlet. Feldkroft's in trouble. They're under attack.
Let's hurry. To the right! Got it! They're closing in!
Boy! What have you done?
Saved my sister.
With an unforgivable curse. From that damned book, no doubt. Your father would be ashamed. You've gone too far, Sebastian. Stay away from her. From all of us.
What did my uncle expect me to do? The Imperious curse saved Anne's life. That goblin was going to kill her.
There was little time to react, but it was an unforgivable curse.
I acted in the moment. That's all. I shall make my uncle see reason. He cannot banish me from my own home. From my sister.
It might be best to let him calm down a while. May I speak to him? Perhaps I can help to ease the tension a bit.
You may be right. Very well. Probably best if I get away from here for a while. I'll head back to Hogwarts.
Pardon me, Mr. Sallow?
What Sebastian did was inexcusable. You cannot possibly be about to defend him.
Sebastian acted rashly, but he acted out of instinct to save Anne.
Out of instinct? With an unforgivable curse? This family does not resort to using dark magic even against our enemies. What Sebastian did cannot be undone. That you are defending Sebastian's behavior at all tells me everything I need to know. You are as guilty as he is. Sebastian is to come nowhere near Feldkroft, nowhere near Anne. Unforgivable curses are so named for a reason. If I hear that either of you continues down this path, if either of you uses dark magic, I will notify the headmaster immediately.
I wish I had better news about your uncle and Anne.
Well, what did he say?
I'm afraid he wants you nowhere near Feldcroft, nor Anne.
I had to stop that goblin from killing my sister. He had no right to banish me from my own twin. If he thinks banishing me means I'm going to give up on Anne, he's sorely mistaken.
He also said he cannot excuse the use of dark magic in any form, and that if he hears of either of us using it, he'll go straight to Professor Black.
Huh? That relic, dark magic or not, is the key to saving Anne. To reverse that curse. I will not lose Anne for good. I should send the crest to Anne. She'll know that we need to meet.
I'm afraid I don't follow.
Nothing, just a thought. Now I'm more determined than ever to learn what power that relic has.
What did you mean you'd send Anne a crest so that she'd know to meet you?
We just lost our parents, and we were packing up to go and live with Solomon. We couldn't take everything. She was carefully organizing her prized possessions, a box of artifacts she'd collected to do with our family. Jewelry, cards, old photographs. She got to her favorite, a handmade crest, and without a second thought she handed it to me. "This will keep you safe," she said. "It holds no enchantment, but I've kept it with me since. That's how I can reach Anne. I'll get the crest to her with plans to meet."
Be careful, Sebastian. Your uncle could intercept it. We'll be expelled.
Even if Ominous is upset with us, he has no love lost for his family. He'd use their connections to the headmaster if we needed his help.
I shall wait to hear from you then.
Thank you. I very much appreciate you standing by me through all of this.
There you are. You were in such a state when you left.
The poachers got to my gran. Someone recognized me in Horntail Hall and they got to her.
What do you mean? Is she all right?
She's fine, thank goodness. But they were at her house, our house. They assumed I'd sent the egg there. She said they took the whole place apart looking for it, screaming that we'd cost them everything.
I'm sorry, Poppy. I'm glad she's all right. I don't think either one of us could have anticipated that.
I should have known. I underestimated the poachers. And now another creature's in danger.
What do you mean?
The poachers refused to leave empty-handed, so they took valuable journals that Gran had discovered when she was researching rare creatures. One of them contained theories about a secret hiding place of the Snidget, long thought to be extinct.
Why would Snidgets be valuable to poachers?
They could make more money with Snidgets than they ever would have fighting dragons. The golden Snidget's feathers and eyes are incredibly valuable. That's why they're believed to be extinct. They were hunted out of existence by wizard kind. If the poachers found some now, I can't bear to think about the horrific way they'd be bred and killed for profit.
Where exactly are these Snidgets allegedly hidden?
Gran says the journals were a bit cryptic, which is good. Perhaps the poachers won't be clever enough to find the birds. From what she recalls, the journals only noted that the key to finding them lay in the moonlight. Gran thinks it can be narrowed down to a handful of locations.
I take it you aren't going to let the poachers anywhere near the Snidgets.
Gran wants me to stay out of it, but I know she's devastated that poachers might go after the Snidgets, if they still exist. We had the element of surprise on our side when we saved that dragon, but the poachers will be watching for us now.
We need allies. Others who hate the poachers enough to help us, who value creatures as much
Merlin's beard! You're a genius! The centaurs! They'd want the Snidgets protected at all costs.
Sounds as if we need to go and talk to the centaurs.
We'll need to be careful in how we approach them. Tensions with them are high. Still, I think they may be our only hope. Let me think on it.
I came as soon as I could.
I'd been so preoccupied by all that happened with Ominous in the catacomb, not to mention my uncle's reaction, that I'd almost forgotten what it was that struck me about that triptych. This is the view painted on the canvas that was left on it.
That's incredible. You know this area well.
And while I was waiting for you, I scouted around and discovered an abandoned mine nearby, surrounded by Ranrock's loyalists.
Do you think there's a connection to the triptych?
I've no idea, but perhaps they're searching it, the way they did Rookwood Castle and Isidora's Manor. How do we want to handle this?
We need to see what they're doing. I say we take them head on. Let's bury some enemies.
Very well.
And I still have that rune symbol we found on the triptych. If there is a connection, I suspect we'll see that symbol again. There they are, up ahead.
I'll let you lead.
What am I doing here? This patrol is worthless. No one enters this mine. Kill anyone who tries. Enjoy suffering, do you? I won't let you not quite.
This is going well.
We make a good team.
We do at that.
Once again, we could fight our way through, or be discreet.
You know which one I'd choose. The fun is over.
Fun is a relative term.
It is. And that was relatively fun.
For better or for worse, we're in.
Over here!
This mine looks like a tomb.
It was closed after accidents were reported. Now I see why.
I don't see any goblins in these webs.
Too disgusting for even a spider to prey on.
Who's there? I won't rest.
How many Ranrock's loyalists are in here?
Too many. They definitely think there's something here they want. It's no wonder spiders give people goosebumps.
Could be the hairy legs, or the soulless eyes, or the venomous fangs, or any number of endearing qualities, really.
Smashing.
Should have thought to conjure stairs. We're making quick work of them.
Professor Hecat would be proud.
She would at that. Ranrock's loyalists have all but declared war. We've still not seen a single rune symbol.
I think we're going to be a bit distracted from runes for a moment.
An unwelcome distraction at that.
We have another fight on our hands.
Why am I not surprised?
We're not finished yet.
It's almost...
Something spiders. I'm glad they don't scare me much.
Arabella, stop being so sassy.
What? Are you afraid?
No, of course not. We certainly cleared the room.
You're not a bad chap for a Slytherin.
You Gryffindors don't have a monopoly on bravery, you know.
Fringo!
Wasn't expecting that. Now, we can have a look around in peace. What do you have there?
A journal entry by Isadora.
Hopefully it will help us unravel more of this mystery.
Sebastian, I think I found something. A canvas piece.
Our efforts weren't in vain after all. Still, something about this place feels odd.
If the triptych led us here to find this bit of canvas, we can probably assume that Isadora Morganach was here.
She seems to have been everywhere.
But if she was using the Undercroft and the cellar beneath her manor in Feldcroft, why would she create this space?
And why hide it behind cryptic rune symbols and ancient magic that no one but you could see?
Isadora and Percival Rackham, another of the Keepers, could see traces of ancient magic too.
Rackham? I haven't heard his name before.
His are some of the memories I've seen. I don't think he and Isadora saw eye to eye on how this magic should be used.
This is all rather baffling. Let's take the canvas back to the triptych. Perhaps the answers are there.
We can find another passageway to the Undercroft. Let's have a look around.
And now for the moment of truth.
It has to fit. Please tell me you recognize the location in this bit of canvas.
The good news is I do, in fact.
And the bad news?
We're in for more trouble. I know that coast. Ranrock has taken over a huge mine in the surrounding area. Marrenweem has suffered for it. It's as bad as Feldcroft's become. Should we head there now?
We should wait.
Why?
All this time, we've been a step behind Ranrock. I may know someone who could help us get ahead.
Who is that?
A friendly goblin. He wants no part in Ranrock's fight.
A friendly goblin? You know, goblins cursed my sister to shut her up. Said she should be seen and not heard.
I do, but not all goblins.
Not all goblins what? Have you forgotten Feldcroft? Have you forgotten the mine we just went through?
No, Sebastian, I haven't. You're not listening to me.
Why would I listen to someone so ignorant?
Perhaps your uncle was right about you. You don't know when to stop.
Oh, I do know when to stop. Unbelievable.
I'm ready to do what's needed to take Harlow down. I know you have a plan.
We must gather information from the friends of Mr. Bickle that Archie and Mrs. Bickle mentioned. Agabus Filbert, Otto Dibble, and Mr. and Mrs. Rabe.
All right.
I suggest that you speak with each of them while I head to the Hogshead. I saw some Ashwinders heading there. And as my mother would never go near the Hogshead, she is less likely to learn of my activities than if I were to wander the village questioning its residents.
Where am I to find these friends of his?
I do not know about Mr. Rabe, but his wife, Daisy, is often in Hogsmeade, as is Agabus Filbert. And Otto Dibble, he works at Gladrags, so you will likely find him there.
What sort of information am I trying to gather from these people?
They may know what evidence Mr. Bickle had against Harlow, or they may have evidence of their own. We simply need to know whatever they know.
Very well. I'll speak with them. See what I can learn.
I knew I could rely on you. We need to know how they are being blackmailed by Rookwood and Harlow. Meet me here after you have spoken with them.
Mrs. Rabe, I wondered if I might speak with you about Theophilus Harlow. I'm a friend of the Bickles and I'm trying to gather evidence against him.
Poor Joanna and little Archie. And now Harlow has taken my darling Isco.
What do you mean? Why?
I'm a security guard at Gringotts, and my husband is a curse breaker for them. Harlow approached me about helping him extort my colleagues into giving him treasures from the vaults.
And you declined?
Of course I declined. Repeatedly. I thought they'd given up, until I came home one night and found my husband gone, and a note affixed to my door with a knife. The note stated that I only had a few days to reconsider helping with some banking needs, and that my husband would appreciate it if I acted quickly. But the help Harlow wants is help that I cannot give, and my dearest Isco is paying the price.
Why wouldn't Harlow extort your husband?
Isco's job is even more removed from the vaults than mine. He travels the world for the bank. He could do nothing for Harlow. I'm the one in the bank on a daily basis, which evidently makes me an enticing target for blackmail.
Have you helped Harlow since your husband was taken?
No, I'm worried sick about Isco, but he'd never want me to compromise my integrity. I also know that he's extremely clever. That said, I was hoping he would have escaped by now. It makes me concerned as to why he hasn't.
Are you sure the note means that your husband was kidnapped?
What else could it possibly mean? Besides, I came home to find that someone had trampled the daisies in our garden. It may sound silly, but those were Isco's pride and joy. He would never have let that happen.
Thank you, Mrs. Rabe. Knowing the lengths that Harlow will go to is helpful, albeit more than disturbing.
Mr. Bickle was trying to help us, but now he's gone. I don't know what to do.
I shall do all I can to get evidence against Harlow, Mrs. Rabe.
Very well. Here's the note I received. You must be careful as well. Please don't put yourself in danger.
It's been here all...
Mr. Dibble, may I speak with you? It's about Theophilus Harlow.
I've nothing to say about him. May I interest you in a stunning cravat today?
Please, sir, I would like to help. I spoke to Mrs. Bickle.
You know the Bickles? All right. But we must be discreet. Can't have Mr. Hill hearing this.
I know Mr. Hill. He was kind to me the day of the troll attack.
Oh, he's a good man. But even he wouldn't understand about Harlow. It started a few weeks ago. I was distracted, reading a note, when you-know-who came into the shop. I hid the note behind the counter and offered to help him. He stared at me for a moment, then asked me to check on an order he'd placed. I went into the storeroom to check on what turned out to be a non-existent order. When I returned, he was holding the note.
What was in the note?
It was a note from Rosie Hill, Mr. Hill's daughter. You see, we've been, well, secretly engaged these past 6 months. We haven't told Mr. Hill yet. I dare say he has higher hopes for her. Harlow advised me in no uncertain terms that my relationship with Rosie, not to mention my employment here, depended upon my cooperation.
What did he ask you to do?
It all happened so quickly. In an instant, he took a very expensive scarf from the counter, pocketed it, and smiled. He said, "Your secret is safe as long as I can supply my lady friend with delightful items like this every so often." I've been able to cover for his requests until now with some creative bookkeeping, but I can't keep it up for much longer. I'm terrified to say anything. I could never live without Rosie.
Could you give me a bit more detail about the note that might help me to identify it should I come across it?
It's on Rosie's special pink stationery. It has her monogram at the top, RH. That's how Mr. Hill would know it was real.
What have you been doing to keep the extortion a secret?
Well, as I mentioned, creative bookkeeping. And I've also been trying to cover the costs with my own savings, but I'm running out of money. Of course, none of this bodes well for my efforts to improve my circumstances and to be worthy of Rosie.
I met Mr. Hill the day of the troll attack. He was kind to me. Why don't you just tell him?
He's a lovely man. But when it comes to Rosie, I fear he loses all perspective. He'd see this as a grave betrayal. I'd lose my job instantly, and Rosie as well.
Thank you for telling me. I'm gathering evidence to take Harlow down.
I would love nothing more than to see him rotting in Azkaban, but be careful. He's an awful man and incredibly dangerous. As for Rosie's letter, should you happen upon it, I have committed it to memory. You may destroy it immediately.
Understood. Excuse me, Mr. Filbert. I wondered if I might speak with you about your dealings with Theophilus Harlow. I hope to ease Mrs. Bickle's mind by gathering evidence against him.
Oh, tragic, what happened to Bickle. He wanted me to speak out against Harlow for an act of violence committed against me. But I feared Harlow's retaliation, and so I refused.
You may have shared Mr. Bickle's fate if you had spoken out against Harlow, as he requested.
Unfortunately, I suspect you're right.
You said that Harlow committed an act of violence against you. Could you tell me what happened?
Before my extraordinary wife, Dulcibella, passed away, she had just completed a small book of poetry. As a surprise for her birthday, one she never had the chance to celebrate, I had the book beautifully bound and plated in gold. One day, Harlow came calling to punish me for having spoken out against the Neanderthals that comprise Rookwood's lot. Before I knew it, I'd been petrified, and Harlow was rifling through my home. He found the book of poetry, with its exquisite gold plating. I watched helplessly, lying there in my entranceway as he walked away with the book, laughing as he went. I was shaken to my core. Still am, to be honest.
I imagine you fear Harlow retaliating again. But do you mind if I share this information with Officer Singer?
I suppose I have no choice. This extortion can't go on forever. You can pass it on to anyone who may be willing to help.
It's not like Natty to be late. She said she was going to the Hog's Head. Perhaps I'll find her there. Natty's wand. She can cast without it. She wanted me to find this. She's in trouble. Revelio will show me where she was taken.
Revelio!
Nosy little students get what's coming to them.
Natty must have been taken this way. I need to find her quickly. Prince led to this room. There must be another way forward. A hidden door.
I don't trust magic.
It's not gonna work.
EP9.
Using that girl as bait. That one's bad for her. We ought to just kill her.
Harlow says her friend had been reckless enough. He wants them alive.
Only a Hogwarts student would be arrogant enough to come in here alone.
Just keep an eye out.
Wanna look up?
Don't still.
I knew you would realize I had left my wand for you. Speak to Mr. Reed. He will tell you what you need to do. And
Mr. Rabe? Daisy told me you'd been abducted.
You spoke with my wife. How is she?
Worried about you. Are you all right?
I am all right. Thank you for coming. These locks are cursed, and there's an anti-apparition jinx on the cells. Even Natty's skill with wandless magic cannot free us. I need you to find my wand.
Use mine. We'll find yours together once you're out of there.
I need my wand for this. Using one with which I have no connection may not work as well or as quickly, and we cannot risk detection.
I shall do my best. Any idea where it might be?
It's nearby. I can sense it.
Understood. I'll find it.
Revelio! Alohomora!
Mr. Rabe's wand. He'll be glad to have this back. Mr. Rabe, I found your wand.
Well done. I knew it was nearby. Now, you best stand back. One never knows how a curse will react to being broken.
Thank you, Mr. Isco.
My pleasure. And thank you, my friend. We owe our lives to your bravery. I may be too weak to disapparate with you both, but I can try.
You go ahead. Find Officer Singer. We will get out of here on our own.
Very well. But be careful. Thank you, my young friends.
Isco Rabe told me a couple of students had rescued him. Should have known it was you two.
Is Mr. Rabe all right?
He is. I sent him home to his wife. Miss Onai, your mother will not be pleased to learn that you're still risking your safety pursuing these dangerous men.
Actually, Officer Singer, Natty and I learned of several Hogsmeade residents who've had their lives threatened by the Ashwinders. In addition to abducting Mr. Rabe to blackmail his wife and Natty, Rookwood and Harlow have also extorted Agabus Filbert and Otto Dibble.
I will look into all of that. As for the two of you, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but you are taking great risk. Next time, please let the authorities handle the Ashwinders.
With all due respect, officer, the authorities haven't done much about any of this.
There's more to taking down an organization like the Ashwinders than simply storming in and hauling them off based on a few accusations. I must insist that you leave them to us. We shall have no further discussion on this. And you, Arabella? What do your parents think about all of this?
They know I can handle myself in danger. They trust my abilities and my self-defense skills.
No matter. I will have to tell them about what you've been up to.
Yes, of course. Hello, Amit. Do I recall you saying that you speak Gobbledegook?
I did. I do. Speak it. Is this to do with the goblin I saw you with in Hogsmeade?
It is. His name is Lodgok. We could use your help with something. He's waiting for me near a goblin mine. Would you be willing to help?
Of course. How exciting. Well, might this be dangerous?
I think he simply wants to show me something that involves Gobbledegook. If it helps, he's a friend of Sirona's.
Good to hear. Good to hear. If Sirona trusts him, then I feel much better.
You said you know Gobbledegook, but how well?
I've been reading it for as long as I've been reading English. My parents have an extensive library. Once I grew bored with the classics, I devoured goblin writings. I'd tell you some titles, but you wouldn't understand them.
Have you ever spoken directly to a goblin?
Unbelievably, no. I'm so looking forward to it. Actually conversing in Gobbledegook with a native speaker. Cannot wait to confirm subtle bits of pronunciation and tone that may have eluded me. Being self-taught and all.
Lodgok is waiting. Shall we go?
Of course. I just want to check the pronunciation of a couple of key terms first. So I will meet you there.
A friend who speaks Gobbledegook is meeting us. Before he arrives, perhaps you could tell me why we're here.
Of course. Unfortunately, presenting Ranrock with the Helmet of Urtkot did not have the effect I'd hoped. Because he knew the details surrounding its plunder, he presumed I'd had help from a witch or wizard in retrieving it.
How else did he expect Goblinkind to get the helmet back? Seems he has no interest in making amends with you.
I'm afraid we do not have the luxury of rational expectation when it comes to Ranrock. Damn Bragbor and his blasted journals.
Bragbor?
An ancestor of Ranrock's, renowned metal worker. If we are to work together, I suppose I must tell you more. Not long ago, Ranrock sent me to collect a recently unearthed set of Bragbor's journals. They described repositories that Bragbor had been commissioned to build for a group of witches and wizards.
What do you mean, repositories?
Large, magically fortified receptacles crafted from goblin metal. Ranrock recruited others to help me locate the repositories. We were to search anywhere that was connected to 5 names mentioned in the journals. Rackham, Fitzgerald, Bakar, Morganach, and Rookwood.
Rookwood Castle.
That is where we began our search.
Why does Ranrock care so much about these repositories?
He cares about what they contain. For centuries, wizards have refused to share their magical knowledge with goblins. Your kind will not even let us carry wands. Thus, many goblins, myself included, have spent our lives mistrusting wizard kind. Ranrock was convinced that the repositories contained a magical power that wizards wanted to keep for themselves. He is determined to take it for goblin kind. But
Here comes my friend Amit. Probably best to continue our conversation later.
Greetings, Lodgok. It is an honor, sir.
You speak Gobbledegook.
Oh, Bagalio.
Enough. Please do not tell me that was meant to be Gobbledegook.
Yes. Perhaps my pronunciation was a bit off. I imagine certain dialects differ.
Pronunciation is not the issue. I barely recognize that as language. I trust you can read Gobbledegook better than you can speak it?
I can, Sir Lodgok.
Just Lodgok. Thankfully, we only need someone who can decipher written plans, since I cannot join you in the mine.
What written plans? And why can't you come with us?
We need some idea of what Ranrock knows or is plotting. I suspect a careless loyalist may have left plans behind. And I'm unable to join you because I cannot risk anyone reporting my presence to Ranrock. All you need to do is not be seen. Either by the eye above the enchanted door, or a loitering loyalist.
Amit and I can do this.
I will await your return.
Right. Don't wish to be seen, do we? A real goblin mine. It's even grander than I had expected. I cannot believe I met a goblin.
Let's just learn what we can and get out.
Look at this lift. Impressive workmanship for so simple a device.
We need to be careful. As I'm sure you know, not all goblins are as friendly as Lodgok, to say the least.
Find her! I won't rest.
That was a little more than I'm used to.
I'll get us through here safely, Amit. You have my word.
A schematic. They're building something. I can't quite make it out. Curious. There must be more notes around here. What could they be building? Fascinating to see Gobbledegook written in a goblin hand. The flourishes are extraordinary. I will get to the bottom of what they've been building down here. If I'm translating this correctly, and I think that I am, they're building something rather large. But what? Let me know if you see any more plans or schematics. We can't return to Lodgok empty-headed.
How nice of you. I won't rest. How nice of you. Childish. Quiet. Are you sure?
Oh, this really is too much. Please don't...
Stay close. I've handled much worse.
Another schematic. What are they going to build? This mine is too small for whatever it is.
Here. What are you thinking? Give up.
How many of them are there?
That should be the last of them, Amit.
This is not good. They're building enormous drills, bigger than this mine could contain.
Let's get out of here and tell Lodgok what we've found.
I need a moment to catch my breath. This was more than I bargained for.
I'm glad you came with me, Amit. Now that we know what they're up to, we can get out of here. That wasn't so bad, was it?
It was. It really was. I'm afraid I've had enough adventure for one day. For a lifetime, perhaps.
Thank you, Amit. I couldn't have done it without you. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to have a word with Lodgok.
Understood? I'll leave you to it. Your goblin secrets are safe with me, but I get to write the book about this escapade someday.
They're building enormous drills. We found their plans. Ranrock must be searching for the repositories.
I fear you are correct. Other than Rookwood Castle, however, I do not know where else he plans to search.
I've been wondering about something else you said before we entered the mine.
Yes?
If you share Ranrock's views, then why are you helping me?
I expected Rookwood Castle to be deserted when I arrived to begin my search. So was surprised to find a witch there who had set up a sort of improvised research site. She was studying something so intently that she almost didn't notice me. When she looked up, I thought she would react with fear or disdain. But instead she did something that I will never forget. Without a moment's hesitation, she smiled and asked me to sit with her. She told me that she was a researcher and showed me a small, oddly shaped container with a strange symbol on it. She was certain it was made of goblin metal, but was unable to open it. She wanted to work together.
Miriam.
Yes. But how did you...
Professor Fig's wife. He told me of her research, and I know of the container.
Ah. The reverence with which she talked of goblins and their intelligence and skill It caught me entirely off guard. I'd never been treated with such respect by a witch or wizard. So, to my surprise, I let her study the container if she would allow me to search the castle on my own. We parted ways, with her promising to share what she'd learned. More of Ranrock's recruits arrived, and we began to dig, eventually locating the first repository. Ranrock was thrilled with our discovery, but furious when I told him about Miriam. Berated me for trusting a witch, and I heard she had been killed.
You think Ranrock murdered her?
I don't want to believe it, but I don't know. After that, something shifted in me. I had seen how the power from the repositories was transforming Ranrock, transforming all of them. I could no longer remain a part of it.
Thank you, Lord Gog, for telling me this.
I tell you all of this so that you understand what is at stake. Ranrock never found all of Bragbor's journals, but the ones he did find suggest that Bragbor at some point built a repository far greater in size than the one beneath Rookwood Castle. What you've discovered here today worries me deeply. If Ranrock learns of the location of that repository, I fear we shall be destined for a great war. I will find out what Ranrock knows. Watch for my owl.